I wonder what who gave Magic Johnson the name Magic, right? Because they're like, look, I got the perfect porno name for you, Magic
Wow.
Johnson, right?
Magic
And
Johnson.
he used it. He used it.
He
He
used
used
it, all right. He used the hell out of that moment.
Magic Johnson. That's, you know what I mean? It's like 50 Cent with, you know what I mean? Right? The
Yeah.
candlestick, and the magic stick. And, everybody got these sticks, right? So Magic Johnson was like, Magic Johnson. That's my name.
The kids are in a better situation nowadays because they're not hypersexualized as we were.
Almost
all of these movies
Cinemax,
hypersexualized us as young
HBO.
boys.
Yeah.
And we thought that was normal. Like, to me, that was normal, And me and my wife talk about this. When I tell my wife all the things that I think are normal, she's like, babe, that's not normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's honestly not normal. Like, people aren't that hypersexualized as you think they are. And I'm like, no. Like, so in a lot of ways, I even tell the young guys nowadays when they come in, I'm like, yo, when you finally find the one you want, everything that you're doing now, it might make you it might make you good in the sheets where you could put it down, but at the same time, if you got a woman that's not that experienced, even though you may love her, your ability to connect with her on a higher level, unless she's willing to like go to that level where you're at, but if she's not, she's very conservative, you guys might have trouble connecting, because you're so hypersexualized and advanced. Well, maybe it is considered advanced. Maybe it's not considered advanced. I'm not really sure. But, that hypersexualization, all the things that we thought were normal sexually, really made it harder to find the right girl. And just in my opinion, in my life, it made it harder, And then now, when you get
which one are you saying? Which one are you saying? Are you saying it made it harder because from the 70s, from that generation, it made you more sexualized, so it made it harder? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is us becoming hypersexualized, being exposed to soft porn early, all that stuff that you thought was normal. When you get with a woman that wasn't hypersexualized and you trying to do all this freaky stuff with her, she like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, not saying she won't do it, but she might not do it to the level of what you think is normal.
Right. You're coming across a certain way.
Yeah. And not saying that she doesn't like it. She might enjoy it, but she's not as experienced. And it just, in my experience, it's a lot harder to make that true, genuine connection. Like, like if you've ever been in a situation with a female and it gets really intense, you know what I mean? And y'all both on that same level where it's going to heights, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you find that, but if you've been on the hunt for a good woman who's not hypersexualized, and I don't know, am I thinking too much into that, or is that kind of adding up a little bit?
No, I think I understand what you're saying.
Because when I speak to my wife about it, like about the stuff, like even in high school, like we were just dogs in high school, man. Like the stuff that we used to do in high school, these kids, and which is good, these kids are not even thinking about. Like I see the young guys with girls nowadays, and in my mind, I'm thinking they're going like left field. You know what I mean? Like they're going way out, but that's not even crossing their mind. They're really thinking about anime and, you know what I mean? They think about playing video games. Man. Yeah, it is, which is a good thing.
When Rakim was talking about, okay, me and Dre are in the studio. We're trying to make this album. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Where's the creative difference? He's like, the creative difference is I want to bring life to this person and he wants me to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you got those two artistic points, which are great, but they're clashing. Because I was like, well, what is the artistic? Well, I don't even know what that means.
I got a response to that. I think what we're talking about is balance. All right? You don't see balance. Because what you're saying is all you hear is song after song after song, you hearing all this nonsense. Where back in the day, the hip hop we grew up on, Redman, Ice Cube, they had a song about, hitting the skins, whatever you want to call it back in the day. They had music that was sexually
We can get
explicit.
into that too, because there's a lot of names for that. From the cut to the skins. That'll be I don't know, maybe later today. Go ahead.
We need a longer show, I'm telling you. But there's also, they had balance. There was also songs about parties. There was also songs just about being creative lyrically. You know what I mean? Like, artists used to put out, and this is what I consider to be an artist that puts out a full body of work. So when you listen to the album, it's not just one song, it was the full body of the album. The song was just a piece, almost like when you look at a piece of artwork and you see there might be a flower in it, and then you got the landscape and the tree. You might look at that flower on how he put that flower together. That's what, to me, one song is. Yeah, so I think that's part of it. I think what you're talking about is there's no more balance. Because I grew up in Snoop Dogg era. It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Like, it's just
of course.
What we grew up in. That record, when that album hit, Doggy Style, East Coast, West Coast, North, South, that thing, that's what everybody was listening to, at least in my world. Everybody was listening to Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style, front to back. The whole album was misogynistic, but creative as hell, lyrically dope, beats off the chain. That full body of work is a timeless piece of art. But there was
at that
balance.
time I was into meditation and all of this stuff. I was missing a bunch of stuff. But my little nephew, Jermichael, rest in peace, he was into Snoop Dogg. And I didn't know, okay, who is Snoop Dogg? Right? I was like, who is Snoop Dogg? He would be putting on that Snoop Dogg. I was like, that's actually dope, right? It's like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Because I had, running in college, man, I got rid of all that. When NWA came in, I was into like bells and, incense, I was into the herbs. I was in that part of my life. I'm with people, they're like, yeah, these are the purple people. These brothers had swords. They had swords, but they was into meditation and yoga, and vegetarianism.
I want to hear more about
all
that.
the stuff Uncle Terry was teaching me. You know what I'm saying? My Uncle Terry was teaching me that stuff. So I just think that, like you said, today, the way they've done it with plucking out songs, you don't hear albums anymore, to hear what the whole story is. Because I've even heard artists say, I'm not even talking about me. I'm not talking about me. Like, this is somebody else.
Future did that. Future did that with the whole, like, I guess he had a song called Molly or something like that. And they was like, yo, he don't even do drugs or something like that. They were saying Future was like that. He does a song where he's popping pills and this dude don't even do, half the stuff he rap about, So, yeah, I get it.
This young generation now is saying things a certain way. One, because there's been a time difference between now and way back in the 70s and the 80s. But on top of that, you got this technology. So you got dating apps, which didn't exist, right? So it's like, I'm meeting a person online. What are you talking about? You meet them online? Just go talk to them. Well, you're from a different time.
When you're walking down the street and you see, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you're walking down the street, I deal with this all the time. You're walking down the street.
People come on this show and try to take the show all the time. You guys know what I'm dealing with over here. You know what I'm saying? He's taking over. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, man, hold on. He's mush. That's why the guy called him mush. He just fucking mushed me. He did this.
My bad. Go ahead.
You know what I mean? He's like, yo, man, this is my show. Hold on.
Hold on. Say what you was going to say. You're right.
No, the only point I was going to make was that, and I'm going to let you get back in there, but it's a double Dutch. I know you up north. You know what I mean? Y'all double Dutch the fucking jump ropes and shit and be like 5 of them going this way.
Yeah, they double Dutch in LA. They double Dutch out there.
But not the way y'all. I'm sure a bunch of those girls had nicknames.
In Atlanta too. They double Dutch in Atlanta.
A bunch of those girls had nicknames that was double Dutching. We need to get those nicknames. But what I was saying was that the female, she should be scared, man. It's like everything is against the female. You hear some of these lyrics, like what we was talking about. I'm like, she's a pack man. She's a man eater, right?
Whoa,
and you listen to it. You listen, yeah. It's all in this music. So the female is like, they always picking on us. They always talking shit about us. You know what I'm saying? But they want us, right? when you look at music today,
Great point. Great
how
point.
how do you see the misogynistic music in hip hop? It's like I when I was overseas one time, I was like, man, I'm listening to these songs and stuff. I feel like y'all hate women. It's like when I hear hip hop, like, man, it seems like y'all hate women. Like, where's the Smokey Robinson at? Not that you need to sing, but where the love at? What's up with the misogynism in hip hop? How do you see that?
Wow. Well, I look at it from two angles, right? One, when you being creative and you're dealing with artistry, you can't really stop someone or hate on someone for creating whatever it is they feel at that point in time. I could see a lot of young men, young artists, they're rich, they got a lot of money, girls are throwing themselves at them, and then that becomes their norm. You know what I mean? And if they're inspired by a night that they had or a woman they came across, and as they're being creative, it happens to come out in their creativity, I feel I'm not going to hold it against them, because we don't hold it against Martin Scorsese for creating, or we didn't hold it against the directors and the writers of those books that created all those sexually explicit movies back that we grew up on, so music and art is still art, music and movies are still art. So I don't really hold it against them. However, I do understand the point.
What female body part would you be?
So we're talking about the physical body part.
That is correct. Including sexual organs.
Would I be? Can I ask just one question? If you're saying to be this body part, meaning that I would be on what? First of all, what made you think of this question? What is this question? Where is this question stemming from? All right. I got to understand the context, because I could say a lot of things, depending on where this question is coming from. Where's this question coming from? What made you think about even asking this question?